Scrub harder. Do you think you're too good for this? A worthless brat like you needs to earn her keep. A woman's voice echoed through the marble hall, directed at a little girl who was crying on her knees, wearing a maid's uniform far too big for her. The girl scrubbed the floor desperately, terrified of the woman watching her. The woman smiled, believing her plan to get rid of her stepdaughter was working perfectly. What she didn't know was that the girl's father, the billionaire owner of the mansion, had just quietly entered through the back door and was hearing every word. But before we dive into the full story, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. Now, subscribe to the channel and let's get started. Daddy, do you think Mom can see us from heaven? 10-year-old Chloe Thompson asked as she stared at the framed photo of her mother on her bedside table. Marcus Thompson sat on the edge of his daughter's bed, gently brushing a strand of hair from her face. I'm sure she can, sweetheart, and I know she's very proud of you. Chloe traced her finger over her mother's smiling face in the photo. Elizabeth Thompson had been gone for 3 years now, taken by breast cancer when Chloe was just 7 years old. Even in their massive Malibu mansion with its 15,000 square feet of space, her absence left an emptiness that seemed impossible to fill. I miss her, Chloe whispered. Me too, Marcus said, his voice catching slightly. He leaned down and kissed his daughter's forehead. Time for sleep. You have school tomorrow. Marcus walked through the long hallway of his oceanfront home, his footsteps echoing on the marble floor. At 45 years old, he had built Thompson Tech into one of the most successful cybersecurity companies in the world. He protected the digital assets of major corporations across 6 continents, yet he had failed to protect the one person who mattered most, his wife. In his home office, Marcus stared at the wall of screens displaying security alerts from clients around the globe. Another late night of work awaited him. His phone buzzed with a text from Mrs. Davis, the housekeeper who had been with them for 15 years. Chloe had nightmares again. I checked on her. She's asleep now. Marcus sighed and rubbed his tired eyes. Mrs. Davis had become like family, especially since Elizabeth died. She was the one constant presence in Chloe's life while Marcus traveled for business, trying to escape his grief through work. The next morning at breakfast, Chloe sat quietly eating cereal while Marcus reviewed emails on his tablet. I have to go to Tokyo next week, he said without looking up. Mrs. Davis will stay with you. I'll only be gone for 5 days this time. Chloe nodded, used to her father's absences. Will you bring me something from Japan? This was their routine. Marcus would travel, bring back expensive gifts, and try to compress quality time with his daughter into the gaps between business trips. Of course. What would you like? He asked. Surprise me, Chloe said with a small smile that didn't reach her eyes. Later that day, Mrs. Davis found an invitation on Marcus's desk while cleaning. Mr. Thompson, there's an invitation here for the Children's Hospital Charity Gala next Saturday, she called out. Marcus walked into the room, his phone pressed to his ear. He covered the microphone and whispered, Just decline it. I'll be preparing for Tokyo. Mrs. Davis frowned. Sir, if I may, you haven't been out in months. It might be good for you to attend something that isn't work-related. Marcus hesitated. Mrs. Davis rarely offered personal advice, but when she did, it usually came from a place of genuine concern. Maybe you're right, he finally said. Make the arrangements. The night of the gala arrived and Marcus found himself in a crowded ballroom at the Beverly Hills Hotel. He stood alone near the bar, feeling out of place despite his perfectly tailored tuxedo. This was Elizabeth's world. She had loved these charity events, working the room with natural grace and warmth. You look like you'd rather be anywhere but here, a female voice said beside him. Marcus turned to see a stunning woman with long blonde hair and bright green eyes. She wore a simple black dress that somehow made her stand out among the flashier attendees. Is it that obvious? He asked. She smiled. Only to another person who feels the same way. She extended her hand. Serena Wilson. Marcus Thompson. Thompson Tech, she said with recognition. Your company protects half the Fortune 500 from cyber threats. I read your profile in Tech Today last month. Marcus raised an eyebrow, impressed. You follow cybersecurity? I follow interesting people, Serena replied. The article mentioned your daughter, Chloe, right? It said you're raising her alone. Something in Marcus's chest tightened. Most women he met were interested in his money or status. Few ever asked about Chloe. Their conversation flowed easily. Serena had worked as a model but now consulted for luxury brands. She asked thoughtful questions about his work and family, listening with genuine interest. When Marcus mentioned Chloe's upcoming school art show, Serena's eyes lit up. I studied art history in college before modeling took over my life, she said. Would it be inappropriate to ask if I could attend? I'd love to see her work. 2 weeks later, Serena sat beside Marcus in a crowded elementary school auditorium, applauding enthusiastically as Chloe's watercolor painting of the ocean won 3rd place. She has real talent, Serena whispered. Those blues and greens. She understands how to capture light on water. After the show, Marcus introduced them. Chloe, this is my friend Serena. Chloe looked up at the tall, beautiful woman with cautious eyes. Serena crouched down to Chloe's level. Your painting reminded me of Monet's water lilies. Have you ever seen them in books? Chloe's eyes widened. Mom had a book about Monet. She loved his paintings. She had excellent taste, Serena said gently. Maybe sometime we could look at that book together? In the months that followed, Serena became a regular presence in their lives. She helped Chloe with art projects, joined them for weekend outings to museums, and brought laughter back into their home. Marcus found himself checking his phone less during family dinners, captivated by Serena's stories and the way she drew Chloe out of her shell. One evening, while Serena and Chloe were baking cookies in the kitchen, Mrs. Davis approached Marcus in his office. Sir, may I speak freely? She asked. Of course, Mrs. Davis. What is it? The housekeeper hesitated. Miss Wilson seems very lovely, and Miss Chloe certainly enjoys her company, but what? I've noticed she's different when you're not in the room. Not bad, just different. Less warm, perhaps. Marcus frowned. Different how? It's nothing specific, sir. Just an old woman's feeling. Pay me no mind. She quickly left the room. Marcus dismissed the concern. He saw how Serena's eyes softened when she looked at Chloe, how patient she was with his daughter's occasional moods and questions about her mother. 6 months after they met, Marcus took Serena for a walk along the beach at sunset. Chloe watched from the terrace as her father dropped to one knee in the sand. She said yes! Marcus called up to his daughter, his face more joyful than Chloe had seen since before her mother died. Chloe ran down to the beach and threw her arms around both of them. Does this mean you'll be my new mom? She asked Serena. Serena hugged her tightly. I could never replace your real mom, sweetheart, but I promise I'll always be here for you. The wedding was small and elegant, held in the garden of the Thompson mansion. Chloe served as flower girl, scattering rose petals down the aisle before Serena appeared in a simple white gown. After the ceremony, the photographer gathered them for family photos on the terrace overlooking the Pacific Ocean. Perfect family shot, the photographer said. Everyone smile. Marcus beamed with one arm around his new wife and the other around his daughter. Chloe grinned, excited about their new beginning, and Serena smiled too, a picture-perfect smile that reached her lips but not her eyes. Later that night, after Marcus and Chloe had gone to bed, Serena stood alone in the hallway, studying the family photos that lined the walls. Photos of Marcus, Chloe, and Elizabeth in happier times. Her fingers trailed across Elizabeth's face in one of the frames. So many changes to make, she whispered to herself. So many things that need to go. Serena woke early the next morning, a small smile playing on her lips as she surveyed the master bedroom. Marcus still slept soundly beside her, exhausted from the wedding celebration. She slipped out of bed and walked to the large window overlooking the Pacific Ocean. This was her home now, her kingdom. She picked up her phone and sent a quick text message. First stage complete. Starting phase 2. Over the next few weeks, Serena began making small changes to the Thompson household. Marcus noticed some of them and appreciated her efforts. "I've scheduled interviews with new housekeeping staff," Serena mentioned casually over breakfast one morning. "I think we need a more professional team." Marcus looked up from his newspaper. "What's wrong with our current staff? They've been with us for years." "Exactly," Serena said, placing her hand over his. "They're comfortable, not efficient. And some of them are too familiar with Chloe. It blurs boundaries." Marcus frowned slightly. "Mrs. Davis stays, though. She's family." "Of course, darling," Serena agreed quickly. "I would never suggest otherwise." By the end of the month, 5 longtime employees had been replaced with Serena's choices. The new gardener no longer snuck flowers to Chloe for her room. The new cook prepared elaborate meals that Marcus enjoyed, but that Chloe picked at hesitantly. One Saturday morning, Chloe came downstairs to find workers removing paintings from the walls. "What's happening?" she asked, watching as a worker carefully took down a landscape her mother had loved. Serena appeared behind her. "Just some redecorating, sweetheart. These old pieces don't match our new color scheme." "But Mom picked these," Chloe said quietly. Serena placed her hands on Chloe's shoulders, squeezing slightly too hard. "Chloe, I understand you miss your mother, but we're making a fresh start now. A new family deserves a new beginning, don't you think?" Later that day, Chloe wandered into the storage room in the basement and found boxes filled with family photos. She dug through them until she found her favorite picture of her mother holding her as a baby. She hugged it to her chest and carried it upstairs to her room. When Marcus came home from work that evening, he noticed the changes to the living room. "You've been busy," he said, looking around at the new modern artwork and sleek furniture that had replaced the warm, comfortable pieces Elizabeth had chosen. "Do you like it?" Serena asked eagerly. "It's different," he replied. "Very stylish. I wanted our home to reflect our future, not just the past," Serena explained. "I hope you don't mind. I used the decorator who did the Phillips home in Beverly Hills." Marcus nodded slowly. "If it makes you happy. I just wish you'd mentioned it before changing everything." "Yeah, you've been so busy with the Tokyo deal," Serena said, her voice softening. "I didn't want to bother you with little domestic details." Marcus's phone buzzed. He checked it and sighed. "Speaking of Tokyo, I need to finish reviewing these contracts tonight." "Go," Serena said understandingly. "I'll check on Chloe." Marcus kissed her cheek and disappeared into his office. Serena's smile faded as she headed upstairs to Chloe's room. She opened the door without knocking and saw Chloe sitting on her bed with the rescued photo. "What's that you have?" Serena asked, her voice suddenly cooler. Chloe held the photo tighter. "It's just a picture of me and Mom." Serena walked over and held out her hand. "Those were supposed to be packed away. We agreed on a fresh start, remember?" "No, you decided," Chloe said with unexpected defiance. "I didn't agree to forget my mom." Something flickered in Serena's eyes, a momentary hardness that disappeared so quickly Chloe wondered if she imagined it. "Of course not, sweetie," Serena said, her voice warm again. "You can keep that one in your drawer. I just don't think we need photos everywhere. It might make your father sad." The next morning at breakfast, Marcus made an announcement. "I need to go to Tokyo next week. The Nakamura contract is too important to delegate." Chloe's face fell. "But we were supposed to go to the Science Museum. You promised." "I know, and I'm sorry," Marcus said. "We'll go when I get back." "It's only for 2 weeks." "2 weeks?" Chloe repeated, eyes widening. "Serena will take good care of you," Marcus assured her. "Right, honey?" "Of course," Serena smiled. "Chloe and I will have a wonderful time together." Girl time. "Mrs. Davis, pouring coffee at the sideboard, glanced briefly at Serena. In the 3 months since the wedding, she had watched the subtle changes in the household with growing concern. Twice she had tried to voice her worries to Marcus, but each time Serena had interrupted with some urgent matter requiring his attention. The night before Marcus's departure, he tucked Chloe into bed. "I'll video call every night," he promised, "and I'll bring you something amazing from Tokyo." "I don't want something," Chloe said quietly. "I want you to stay." "It's just 2 weeks," Marcus said. "You'll barely notice I'm gone." "Dad," Chloe began hesitantly, "Serena is different when you're not around." Marcus frowned. "Different how?" Before Chloe could answer, Serena appeared in the doorway. "Sorry to interrupt, but your assistant is on the phone." "Something about the contract revisions." Marcus sighed and kissed Chloe's forehead. "We'll talk more tomorrow before I leave, okay?" But the next morning was a rush of last-minute preparations. Serena had scheduled a breakfast meeting with Marcus's team to review the Tokyo agenda, leaving no time for private conversations with Chloe. As they stood in the driveway waiting for the car, Chloe hugged her father tightly. "Please call every day," she whispered. "I promise," Marcus said. He turned to Serena. "Take good care of my little girl." "With all my heart," Serena replied, kissing him goodbye. They stood waving as the car disappeared down the long driveway. The moment it was out of sight, Serena dropped Chloe's hand and checked her phone. "Flight tracking shows he's on his way to the airport," she said, more to herself than to Chloe. She turned to the girl with an entirely different expression, cold, evaluating, and without a trace of warmth. "Come with me." Confused and suddenly nervous, Chloe followed Serena back into the house and up the stairs. Serena led her to the master bedroom and opened a large closet. She pulled out something and thrust it into Chloe's arms. "What's this?" Chloe asked, holding up what looked like a maid's uniform. "Your new clothes," Serena said flatly. "Playtime is over, Chloe. Your father married me to bring some discipline into your life. You've been spoiled too long." Chloe stared at the uniform, then at Serena. Sure, this must be some strange joke. "What are you talking about?" "My dad would never want me to wear this." "Your father and I discussed this thoroughly," Serena said. "You need to learn the value of hard work. While he's away, you'll be helping maintain the household, starting today." "No," Chloe said, dropping the uniform. "I don't believe you." "I'm calling my dad." She reached for her phone in her pocket. Serena moved quickly, grabbing the phone from Chloe's hand. "You won't be needing this. Your father agreed to this character-building exercise. Calling him would only disappoint him." "I want to talk to my dad," Chloe cried, tears forming in her eyes. Serena's expression hardened. "Listen carefully. Your father left me in charge, and this is how things will be. If you refuse to cooperate, there are other options." She walked to her desk and pulled out several glossy brochures, tossing them onto the bed. Chloe picked one up. It showed a stern-looking building surrounded by snow-covered mountains. "Alpine Academy for Young Ladies, Switzerland," read the heading. "Your father and I reviewed these boarding schools," Serena said calmly. "He left the final decision to me." "So you have a choice, Chloe. You can stay here and learn some valuable life skills, or you can pack for Switzerland. Which will it be?" Chloe's hands trembled as she looked at the brochures. Would her father really send her away? She couldn't believe it, but the evidence was right in front of her, and Switzerland was so far away. I'll stay," she whispered. "Good choice," Serena said, picking up the uniform and pushing it back into Chloe's arms. "Get changed. Your first lesson begins in 15 minutes. You'll be cleaning the guest bathrooms today." As Serena walked toward the door, she turned back with a cold smile. "This is my house now, Chloe. And in my house, you either work or you disappear. It's your choice." Tears streamed down Chloe's face as she changed into the maid's uniform. The fabric was scratchy against her skin, and the dress hung loosely on her small frame. She stared at herself in the mirror, not recognizing the girl who looked back at her. 2 months had passed since that first terrible day when Marcus left for Tokyo. A pattern had formed in the Thompson household. Whenever Marcus was home, Serena played the perfect stepmother. But the moment his car disappeared down the driveway, Chloe's life became a nightmare. "You missed a spot," Serena said coldly, pointing to a corner of the kitchen floor that Chloe had been scrubbing for the past hour. "Do it again." Chloe's hands were red and raw from the cleaning chemicals. She dipped her brush back into the bucket and continued working. "When is Dad coming home?" she asked quietly. "Your father's flight arrives tomorrow evening," Serena answered, checking her expensive watch. "Which means we have 24 hours to get this house perfect. After you finish the floor, you need to polish all the silver for dinner." Chloe nodded, knowing better than to argue. In the 2 months since this had started, she had learned that resistance only made things worse. Later that afternoon, Mrs. Davis found Chloe in the dining room, struggling to reach the higher shelves to dust. "Here, let me help you with that," the housekeeper said, taking the duster from Chloe's hands. She looked around quickly to make sure they were alone. "I saved you some cookies from lunch. They're hidden in the laundry room behind the detergent." "Thank you," Chloe whispered. "Mrs. Davis, can you help me call my dad?" Serena took my phone, and "Shh." Mrs. Davis warned as the sound of heels clicking on marble approached. She quickly resumed dusting as Serena entered the room. "Mrs. Davis, I believe the upstairs bathrooms need attention," Serena said sharply. "Chloe can handle this." "Yes, Mrs. Thompson," Mrs. Davis replied, giving Chloe a sympathetic glance before hurrying away. That evening, as Chloe finished polishing the last of the silver forks, Serena appeared with her laptop. "Your father wants to video call. Remember our rules." Chloe nodded, her heart racing. The rules were simple. Smile, say everything is fine, and never complain. If Chloe broke these rules, Serena would stand just out of camera view making threatening gestures. Marcus's face appeared on the screen, tired, but happy to see his daughter. "There's my girl!" "How are you, sweetheart?" "I'm fine, Dad," Chloe said, forcing a smile while Serena stood behind the laptop watching her closely. "Are you and Serena having fun?" "Yes," Chloe lied. "We're cooking together." "That's wonderful. I'll be home tomorrow. I've got something special for you from New York." Chloe's eyes darted to Serena, who gave a slight nod. "I can't wait to see you, Dad." "Is Serena there? Can I talk to her?" "Right here, darling." Serena moved into frame, her entire demeanor changing instantly. She was all smiles and warmth. "We miss you so much." "I miss you both. How's everything at home?" "Perfect. Chloe has been such a help around the house. We're bonding beautifully." After the call ended, Serena closed the laptop and her smile vanished. "Go finish the silver, then clean up the kitchen. Your bedroom is still locked. You'll sleep in the maid's quarters again tonight." This was another part of Chloe's punishment when Marcus was away. Her beautiful bedroom remained locked, and she was forced to sleep in the tiny room next to the laundry area. The next morning, Serena received a phone call that made her smile in a way that made Chloe nervous. "Wonderful news," Serena announced. "Your father's meeting has been extended. He won't be home until the day after tomorrow." Chloe's heart sank, but worse news was to come. "I'm hosting a lunch for my friends today," Serena continued. "You'll be serving us." By noon, 6 elegantly dressed women had arrived at the mansion. They sat around the patio table while Chloe, still in her maid's uniform, carried out trays of food prepared by the cook. "Serena, darling, when you said you'd hired new help, you didn't mention she was so young," said a woman with red hair. Serena smiled. "This is actually my stepdaughter, Chloe. She's learning the value of hard work." The women exchanged glances. "How unusual," another woman commented. "Chloe, pour the iced tea," Serena ordered, enjoying the girl's humiliation. As Chloe moved around the table filling glasses, one woman deliberately placed her hand over her glass too late, causing Chloe to spill tea on the tablecloth. "I'm sorry," Chloe gasped. "How clumsy," the woman said with a smirk. "Clean it up immediately," Serena snapped, "and then go get fresh linens." As Chloe hurried away, she heard the women laughing. One voice carried clearly, "I could never discipline my husband's child like that." "You're so brave, Serena." "Marcus leaves all household matters to me," Serena replied. "He's too busy saving the digital world to worry about raising his daughter properly." That evening, a new person arrived at the Thompson mansion. A tall man with short dark hair and serious eyes, carrying equipment cases. "Chloe, this is Mr. Pierce." Serena introduced them in the foyer. "He'll be installing a new security system throughout the house." Jackson Pierce looked down at Chloe, his expression neutral but his eyes curious. "Hello, Chloe. You can call me Jackson." "Mr. Pierce will be with us for several days," Serena explained. "Show him to the East Wing guest room, then prepare dinner for 3. As Chloe led Jackson through the mansion, she kept her head down, embarrassed by her uniform and situation. "Have you worked here long?" Jackson asked casually when they were out of Serena's earshot. "I don't work here," Chloe said quietly. "I live here. This is my house." Jackson raised his eyebrows but said nothing more until they reached the guest room. As Chloe turned to leave, he spoke again. "You know, security systems are interesting things," he said. "They record what people want them to record. Not everything needs to be monitored." Chloe wasn't sure what he meant, but something in his tone made her look up and meet his eyes for the first time. He gave her a small nod before unpacking his equipment. During dinner, Jackson observed the strange dynamic between Serena and Chloe. When Chloe accidentally dropped a spoon, Serena's expression turned frightening for just a second before she composed herself. "Sorry about that," Jackson said quickly. "Startled her when I asked for the salt?" Later, as Chloe was cleaning up the kitchen, Mrs. Davis entered with more dishes. "Be careful around that security man," she whispered. "Serena has eyes and ears everywhere now." "I think he might be nice," Chloe whispered back. Mrs. Davis shook her head. "Don't trust anyone. Your father comes home tomorrow. Just hold on until then." The next day, Jackson was installing cameras in the upstairs hallway when he saw Mrs. Davis exit a bedroom looking upset. He waited until she was alone to approach her. "Everything okay?" he asked. Mrs. Davis hesitated. "Mr. Pierce, how much do you know about this household?" "Enough to know something isn't right," he replied quietly. "That girl isn't a maid." "No, she isn't," Mrs. Davis agreed. "But if I say more, my nephew could be deported. Serena knows Marcus has been helping him with immigration issues." Jackson's expression darkened. "I understand threats. I was a foster kid myself. I recognize abuse when I see it." "Then you know we must be careful," Mrs. Davis said. "Cameras have a way of seeing everything." "Not all cameras," Jackson replied meaningfully. "Some have blind spots. Some record on loops that get erased. Do you understand?" Mrs. Davis studied him for a moment, then nodded slowly. That afternoon, while installing a camera in the hallway outside Chloe's locked bedroom, Jackson deliberately created a small blind spot. He found Chloe later and casually mentioned, "The camera facing your bedroom door has a 10-second delay before recording, just so you know." The pattern continued for 2 more weeks. Marcus would return home and everything would appear normal. Then another business trip would take him away, and Chloe would become the household servant again. But now, small things began to change. Jackson had created safe spots throughout the house, areas where cameras appeared to be working but actually recorded nothing. Mrs. Davis became bolder in her small acts of kindness, sneaking food to Chloe and creating excuses to reduce her workload. One day, Chloe's teacher, Miss Winters, called the house. She was concerned about Chloe's dropping grades and withdrawn behavior at school. Serena answered the call. "Yes, we've noticed changes too," she said smoothly. "Marcus and I are looking into therapy options. Blended families can be so challenging for children. Thank you for your concern." After hanging up, Serena found Chloe in the laundry room. "Your teacher called," she said coldly. You're drawing attention to yourself at school. Fix it, or boarding school becomes our only option." That evening at dinner, Marcus made an announcement that made Chloe's blood run cold. "I need to go to Singapore for 2 weeks," he said. "The expansion project is at a critical stage." 2 whole weeks? Chloe couldn't stop herself from asking, panic rising in her voice. "I know it's a long time," Marcus acknowledged, "but Serena will take good care of you." "Dad, I need to tell you something," Chloe said desperately. "When you're gone, Serena makes me—" "Marcus," Serena interrupted, placing her hand on his arm. "Remember what we discussed about Chloe's attention-seeking stories?" Marcus's face showed conflict. "Chloe, we talked about this. Making up stories because you're jealous of Serena isn't acceptable." "But Dad, I'm not—" "Enough," Marcus said firmly. "I'm disappointed in you. Serena has done nothing but try to be a good stepmother to you." As tears filled Chloe's eyes, Serena smiled triumphantly. "Don't worry, darling. Chloe and I will have a wonderful 2 weeks together. I have something special planned." The morning of Marcus's departure for Singapore was tense. Chloe sat at the breakfast table pushing eggs around her plate, barely eating. Over the past months, her clothes had begun hanging loosely on her frame. Dark circles had formed under her once bright eyes. "Your driver will be here in 30 minutes, Serena reminded Marcus, who was checking emails on his tablet. "Chloe, are you feeling okay?" Marcus asked, finally noticing his daughter's appearance. "You look tired." Before Chloe could answer, Serena jumped in. "She's been staying up late reading. I've told her it's affecting her school performance, but you know how stubborn she can be." Marcus frowned. "Is that true, Chloe?" Chloe stared at her plate. What was the point? He never believed her anymore. "Yes, Dad," she whispered. At school that day, Chloe sat alone during lunch, picking at a sandwich Mrs. Davis had packed for her. Her friend Emma tried to join her. "Want to see my new markers?" Emma asked. "No thanks," Chloe replied without looking up. Emma frowned. "You never want to do anything fun anymore. You're different now." "I'm just tired," Chloe said, the same excuse she gave everyone. Ms. Winters, Chloe's teacher, watched this interaction with concern. Later, she called Chloe to her desk while other students worked on math problems. "Chloe, your last 3 assignments were incomplete," Ms. Winters said gently. "That's not like you. And I've noticed bruises on your arms. Is everything okay at home?" Chloe tensed. The bruises were from carrying heavy cleaning supplies and moving furniture when Serena made her rearrange rooms. "I'm fine. I just fell," she mumbled. Ms. Winters wasn't convinced. "I'd like to speak with your parents. I'm going to schedule a conference." Panic flashed across Chloe's face. "Please don't." That afternoon, Serena answered the phone when Ms. Winters called. "Mrs. Thompson? This is Lisa Winters, Chloe's teacher. I'm concerned about some changes I've noticed in Chloe recently." "What kind of changes?" Serena asked, her voice instantly concerned and warm. "Her grades are dropping, she's withdrawn from friends, and I've noticed some unexplained bruises. I'd like to schedule a parent conference." Serena's grip tightened on the phone, but her voice remained perfectly calm. "Thank you for your concern, Miss Winters. Marcus and I have noticed changes too. Blended families can be so challenging for children. Chloe is still adjusting to sharing her father's attention." "I understand, but these changes seem more serious." "We're actually looking into therapy options," Serena interrupted smoothly. "Chloe has been acting out at home too, telling stories, seeking attention. Our family doctor suggested it might be a response to all the changes in her life." "Oh," Ms. Winters sounded uncertain. "That makes sense, but I'd still like to meet—" "Marcus is traveling for business right now. Perhaps when he returns. In the meantime, I'll make sure Chloe completes all her missing assignments." After hanging up, Serena found Chloe in the kitchen getting water. Her friendly mask disappeared. "Your teacher called," she said coldly. Chloe froze. What did she want? She's noticed your poor grades and behavior. You're drawing attention to us, Chloe. Fix it, or you'll regret it." That evening, Jackson Pierce was adjusting a camera in the upstairs hallway when he overheard Serena on the phone. "Yes, Victor, everything's going according to plan," she said. "Marcus is completely under control. 2 weeks in Singapore, plenty of time to advance things. The brat is becoming a problem, though. No, I have it handled." Jackson made a mental note of the name Victor and continued pretending to work as Serena emerged from her office. "How much longer until the system is fully operational?" she asked. 3 more days, Jackson replied. "I'm creating a special app for your phone so you can monitor all cameras from anywhere." "Perfect," Serena smiled. "I want to see everything that happens in this house." "Everything you want to see," Jackson clarified with a professional smile. "Some areas will have privacy filters, of course." Later, Jackson found Chloe cleaning windows in the living room. He pretended to check a nearby camera while speaking quietly. "The east hallway camera goes offline every day from 2 to 2:15. Camera 3 in the kitchen stores footage locally. It doesn't upload to the main system. Remember that." Chloe looked confused. "I'm creating safe spaces," he explained softly. "Places where you can move freely without being watched." "Why are you helping me?" Chloe whispered. "I recognize what's happening here," Jackson said. "I grew up in foster care. I know abuse when I see it." The next day, Mrs. Davis approached Jackson while he worked in the security room. "Can I trust you?" she asked directly. Jackson turned off the microphone on his headset. "I'm documenting everything, building a case." Mrs. Davis's eyes widened. "Against Serena? Yes, but we need to be careful. She's smart and she's watching. She threatened my nephew's immigration status if I tried to help Chloe," Mrs. Davis admitted. "That's why we need solid evidence," Jackson replied. "I've created blind spots in the camera system. Times and places where Chloe can rest, where you can help her." "Like where?" Mrs. Davis asked. "The laundry room between 10 and 10:30 each morning. The east hallway from 2 to 2:15. The kitchen pantry has no camera at all. I told Serena it was a technical issue." Mrs. Davis nodded. "What can I do?" "Keep doing what you've been doing. Small acts of kindness. Document anything you see, and we wait for the right moment." A week passed. Chloe developed a new survival routine using Jackson's blind spots to rest during her endless chores. Mrs. Davis created reasons to reduce Chloe's workload. "Mrs. Thompson, the gardener needs help moving plants. I'll have Chloe finish the dusting later." These small mercies made the days more bearable, but Chloe still looked increasingly worn down. At school, Miss Winters continued to watch with concern. One afternoon, Miss Winters asked Chloe to stay after class. "Chloe, I spoke with your stepmother last week," she said gently. "She mentioned you're having trouble adjusting at home." Chloe stared at the floor. "Did she tell you I'm making up stories too?" Ms. Winters looked surprised. "She did mention something about attention-seeking behaviors." "Do you believe her?" Chloe asked, finally looking up. Ms. Winters studied Chloe's face. "I believe something is wrong and I want to help. Can you tell me what's really happening?" For a brief moment, Chloe considered telling everything, but then she remembered Serena's threats about boarding school in Switzerland. "Nothing's wrong," she said finally. "I'm just tired." That night, while cleaning the kitchen after dinner, Chloe dropped a glass. It shattered on the floor, the noise echoing through the quiet house. Serena appeared instantly. "What did you break now?" "I'm sorry," Chloe said, already kneeling to pick up the pieces. "It slipped." "That was crystal," Serena snapped. "Do you know how expensive that was?" "I'll clean it up," Chloe promised. Serena grabbed Chloe's arm, pulling her roughly to her feet. "You're useless." Completely useless. From the doorway, Mrs. Davis cleared her throat. "Mrs. Thompson, there's a call for you. Something about your charity event next week." Serena released Chloe's arm, her demeanor instantly changing. "I'll take it in my office." She pointed at the broken glass. "Clean this up properly." After Serena left, Mrs. Davis quickly helped Chloe sweep up the glass. "Are you hurt?" she asked, examining Chloe's arm where red marks were forming. "I'm okay," Chloe said automatically. "This cannot continue," Mrs. Davis whispered fiercely. "Your father needs to know." "He won't believe me," Chloe said, tears filling her eyes. "He thinks I'm making things up because I'm jealous." "Then we need proof he can't ignore." The next morning, Jackson found Mrs. Davis in the laundry room during one of the camera blind spots. "I need your help," Mrs. Davis said urgently. "Can you make copies of the security footage showing how Serena treats Chloe?" "I've been documenting everything," Jackson confirmed, "but we need to be careful. If we act too soon or without enough evidence, Serena will twist it around." "What more evidence do we need? She's abusing that child right under our noses." "We need something so clear that Marcus can't possibly deny it," Jackson explained. "Something even Serena can't talk her way out of." Just then, they heard footsteps approaching. They quickly pretended to be discussing laundry as Serena appeared. "Mrs. Davis, Chloe needs to clean my private study today," Serena announced. "It's dusty and I'm having guests tomorrow." Mrs. Davis and Jackson exchanged worried glances. Serena's private study was off limits to everyone, even Marcus. Later, Jackson found Chloe in the hallway looking terrified. "She wants me to clean her study," Chloe whispered. "She never lets anyone in there." "Be very careful," Jackson warned. "Don't touch any papers or her computer, just dust and vacuum." "What if I find something important?" Chloe asked. Jackson hesitated. "There's no camera in that room. Serena insisted on privacy. If you see anything unusual, remember it, but don't take anything or she'll know." That afternoon, Serena unlocked her study door and ushered Chloe inside. "You have 1 hour," she instructed. "Dust everything carefully, especially the crystal pieces. If anything breaks, there will be severe consequences. Understand?" Chloe nodded, clutching her dusting cloth. "I'll be at my lunch meeting. When I get back, this room better be perfect." After Serena left, Chloe looked around the elegant room with its expensive furniture and artwork. On Serena's desk sat a beautiful crystal vase filled with fresh flowers. Beside it were stacks of papers and a laptop. Chloe began dusting carefully, staying far away from the crystal vase. As she worked, she noticed something unusual: a small button underneath the edge of the antique desk. What was that for? Outside the mansion, Mrs. Davis watched Serena's car drive away for her lunch appointment. She turned to Jackson, who was adjusting a camera on the porch. "She'll be gone for at least 2 hours," Mrs. Davis said. "Her lunch meetings always run long." Jackson nodded. "Let's hope Chloe stays safe in there. I don't like her being in that room alone." "What are you looking for?" Mrs. Davis asked. "Evidence," Jackson replied simply. "Something that shows who Serena really is." Chloe stared at the small button under Serena's desk. Her fingers hovered near it, curiosity battling with fear. What would happen if she pressed it? Taking a deep breath, she gently pushed the button. A quiet click sounded as a hidden compartment slid open on the side of the antique desk. Chloe gasped. Inside were folders and what looked like financial documents. "What are these?" she whispered to herself, carefully pulling out a folder. Before she could examine the papers, she accidentally bumped the desk. The crystal vase wobbled dangerously. Chloe reached for it, but her fingers only pushed it further. Time seemed to slow as the expensive vase toppled over, crashing onto the hardwood floor. The sound of shattering crystal filled the room. Water and flowers spilled across the polished floor, and shards of crystal scattered everywhere. "No, no, no," Chloe whispered, dropping to her knees. Her hands shook as she tried to gather the broken pieces. One sharp edge sliced her finger, and a drop of blood fell onto the wet floor. The front door slammed. "What was that noise?" Serena's voice called from downstairs. Chloe froze in terror. Serena wasn't supposed to be back for hours. Footsteps echoed through the house, growing closer and louder. The study door flew open. Serena stood there, her eyes moving from Chloe to the broken vase on the floor. "What have you done?" Serena's voice was deadly quiet. "I'm sorry," Chloe stammered. "It was an accident. I was dusting and—" "That vase," Serena cut her off, "was a gift from the governor's wife. It was irreplaceable." Chloe scrambled to her feet. "I'll save my allowance. I'll pay for it." Serena laughed, a cold sound without humor. "That vase cost $5,000. You couldn't pay for it in a lifetime." Her eyes narrowed as she noticed the open secret compartment in the desk. "Were you going through my private things?" "No, the button. I didn't know what it was." Something changed in Serena's face. The mask of controlled anger dropped completely, revealing something much more frightening beneath. "You've been nothing but trouble since I married your father," Serena said, advancing toward Chloe. "I've been patient. I've been kind. And this is how you repay me? By spying and destroying my things?" Chloe backed away until she hit the wall. "I wasn't spying." "Please, I'm sorry about the vase." Serena reached her in 3 quick steps. Her hand shot out, striking Chloe across the face with enough force to snap her head to the side. The slap echoed through the room. "You worthless little brat," Serena hissed. Chloe raised her hand to her stinging cheek, tears filling her eyes. No one had ever hit her before. Serena grabbed Chloe's arm and dragged her from the study down the hallway and toward the stairs. Chloe stumbled, trying to keep up. "Where are we going?" she asked, voice shaking. "Somewhere you can think about what you've done," Serena replied, pulling her down the stairs to the main floor and then toward the basement door. In the security room, Jackson was monitoring the cameras when movement on one screen caught his attention. He watched in shock as Serena dragged Chloe down the hallway. "What the hell?" he muttered, turning up the volume. The security system captured everything. Serena's words, her hand striking Chloe's face, the girl's cry of pain. Jackson quickly saved the footage to a secure folder and continued watching as Serena forced Chloe toward the basement. He grabbed his phone and texted Mrs. Davis, "Emergency! Basement now." Serena pushed Chloe down the basement stairs. At the bottom, she marched her past the laundry area to a small storage room at the back, a windowless space used for old furniture and seasonal decorations. "Please don't put me in there," Chloe begged. "It's dark." "I'm scared of the dark." "You should have thought of that before you went through my private things," Serena said, shoving Chloe into the room. "Maybe a few hours in here will teach you respect." "How long do I have to stay here?" Chloe asked, tears streaming down her face. "Until I decide you've learned your lesson," Serena replied, closing the heavy door. Chloe heard the key turn in the lock, then footsteps walking away. She was alone, in complete darkness. "Help," she called weakly, knowing no one would hear. "Please help me." She sank to the floor, her cheek throbbing from the slap, and pulled her knees to her chest. In the kitchen, Mrs. Davis checked her phone and saw Jackson's urgent message. She hurried toward the security room, meeting him in the hallway. "What happened?" she asked. "Serena hit Chloe," Jackson said, his voice tight with anger. "Full force across the face, it's all on camera, then she dragged her to the basement. I think she locked her in the storage room," Mrs. Davis gasped. "We need to get her out." "Serena's in her office now. We have maybe 10 minutes before she checks the cameras and realizes I've seen everything." They hurried down to the basement. Mrs. Davis tried the storage room door and found it locked. "Chloe, are you in there?" she called. "Mrs. Davis?" Chloe's voice was small and frightened. "She locked me in. I can't see anything." "Stand back from the door, honey. We're going to get you out." Jackson pulled out a set of tools from his pocket. "Perks of being a security guy. I can open pretty much any lock in this house." Within moments, he had the door open. Chloe blinked in the sudden light, her face tear-streaked and a red mark clearly visible on her cheek. Mrs. Davis knelt and carefully examined Chloe's face. "Oh, my poor child. Did she hurt you anywhere else?" "Just my arm," Chloe said, showing the red marks where Serena had gripped her. And my cheek really hurts. Jackson took out his phone and quickly photographed Chloe's injuries. We need to document this. What do we do now? Mrs. Davis asked. If Serena finds out we let her out? Jackson's face hardened. This ends today. I have the footage of Serena hitting her. Now we have photos of the injuries. This is the evidence we need. My dad still won't believe it, Chloe said quietly. Serena always makes him think I'm lying. Not this time, Mrs. Davis said firmly. Not with what we have now. Jackson checked his watch. We need to move fast. Serena will realize the cameras caught everything. Where can we take Chloe that's safe? Mrs. Davis asked. My room, Jackson decided. It's the only place in the house where I control all the camera feeds. Serena can't override my security clearance there. They hurried upstairs, careful to avoid the main hallways where Serena might see them. In Jackson's guest room, Chloe sat on the edge of the bed while Mrs. Davis gently cleaned her cut finger. Jackson set up his laptop. I need to make a secure copy of the footage before Serena realizes what we have. His fingers flew across the keyboard. I'm sending it to my private server where she can't erase it. Should we call the police? Mrs. Davis asked. Jackson shook his head. Not yet. Serena has too many connections in this town. We need to call Marcus first. Mrs. Davis took a deep breath. I'll do it. I've been afraid of losing my job, of what would happen to my nephew. But I can't stay silent anymore. Not after this. Chloe looked up, hope in her eyes for the first time in months. Will my dad really believe us this time? With this evidence, he'll have to, Jackson said, turning his laptop to show them the footage. On screen, they could clearly see Serena striking Chloe. Mrs. Davis flinched at the image. That monster! How could she do this to a child? Chloe looked away, unable to watch. Jackson closed the laptop. I'll finish securing the evidence. Mrs. Davis, can you get Chloe some ice for her face? When Mrs. Davis left for the kitchen, Jackson crouched down to Chloe's level. I need you to be brave for a little while longer. Can you do that? Chloe nodded, wiping away tears. I promise you'll never have to be alone with her again, Jackson said. Mrs. Davis returned with an ice pack wrapped in a towel. Here, sweetie. Hold this against your cheek. It will help with the swelling. She took out her phone and stared at it for a long moment. I should have done this months ago. She dialed Marcus's number, her hand trembling slightly. After several rings, he answered. Mrs. Davis? Is everything okay? No, Mr. Thompson, everything is not okay, she said, her voice steadier than she expected. You need to come home now. Your daughter is in danger. What are you talking about? Marcus sounded confused. Serena has been abusing Chloe whenever you're away. Today she hit her across the face and locked her in the basement storage room. That's ridiculous, Marcus said. Serena wouldn't… We have proof, Mrs. Davis interrupted. Security footage, photos of the injuries. Mr. Pierce and I just rescued Chloe from that dark room. Your wife locked a 10-year-old child in a windowless storage room because she accidentally broke a vase. There was silence on the line. Then Marcus spoke, his voice different. Send me the footage, now. Jackson connected his laptop to Mrs. Davis's phone and transferred the video file. It's sending, Mrs. Davis told Marcus. Mr. Thompson? Marcus, I'm so sorry I didn't tell you sooner. She threatened my nephew's immigration status if I spoke up. Minutes passed as they waited for Marcus to view the evidence. Chloe sat quietly, holding the ice pack to her face. Jackson stood by the door, listening for any sign of Serena. Finally, Marcus's voice came through the phone, tight with barely controlled fury. I'm on my way home. My pilot is preparing the jet now. Keep Chloe away from Serena. Don't confront her directly. I don't want anyone else getting hurt. I'll handle this myself when I arrive. How soon can you get here? Mrs. Davis asked. 12 hours at the earliest, Marcus replied. Just keep Chloe safe until then. After the call ended, Mrs. Davis hugged Chloe. "Your father is coming home. He believes us." "Serena will be looking for Chloe soon," Jackson warned. "When she can't find her, she'll check the security feeds." As if on cue, the house intercom system buzzed. Serena's voice filled the room. "Jackson? I'm having trouble with the basement camera feed. Can you come to the security room right away?" Jackson and Mrs. Davis exchanged worried glances. "She knows," Jackson whispered. Jackson pressed the intercom button. "I'll be right there, Mrs. Thompson." Just finishing an update in the East Wing. He turned to Mrs. Davis and Chloe. "I need to go deal with her. Stay here and lock the door behind me." "What will you tell her?" Mrs. Davis asked. "That there was a system glitch. I'll say I'm fixing it." Jackson knelt in front of Chloe. "Don't worry. We have the evidence now. Your dad is coming." After Jackson left, Mrs. Davis locked the door and guided Chloe away from the windows. "What if she finds us?" Chloe whispered. "She won't," Mrs. Davis assured her, though her own hands trembled slightly. Thousands of miles away in Singapore, Marcus Thompson sat in his hotel suite, staring at his laptop screen in shock. He had just watched the security footage for the third time. The image of Serena striking his daughter across the face was burned into his mind. He could hear Chloe's cry of pain, see her small body being dragged down the hallway. "How could I have been so blind?" he whispered, running his hands through his hair. His phone rang, his head of security in California. "Mr. Thompson, the jet is ready. We've filed an emergency flight plan. Estimated arrival in Malibu is 7 o'clock tomorrow morning." "I want to speak to my daughter," Marcus said. "We're arranging a secure line." Mrs. Davis reports they're keeping Chloe hidden from Mrs. Thompson for now. Marcus ended the call and immediately dialed his attorney. "Robert, I need emergency custody papers drawn up immediately. My wife has been abusing my daughter. I have video evidence." "I can have them ready when you land," the attorney replied. "Do you want police involvement?" "Not yet. I want to handle this personally first." Meanwhile, in the mansion's security room, Jackson stood beside Serena, pretending to fix a technical issue with the basement cameras. "Strange," he said, typing commands into the computer. "Looks like the system had a hiccup during the backup process. I can restore the feed, but we might have lost the last hour of footage." Serena's eyes narrowed. What exactly would be missing? "Just routine movement. Nothing important," Jackson said casually. "The system does this sometimes during updates." "And where is Chloe now?" Serena asked. Jackson kept his expression neutral. "I haven't seen her. Maybe she's with Mrs. Davis." "She's supposed to be in the basement storage room," Serena said, watching Jackson's reaction carefully. "I locked her in there for breaking my crystal vase." Jackson forced himself to shrug. "The basement door was unlocked when I came through earlier. Maybe she got out?" Serena's perfectly manicured nails tapped against the desk. "Find her, Jackson. Now." "I'll check the cameras," he promised, already planning how to mislead her. Back in Jackson's room, Chloe sat on the edge of the bed while Mrs. Davis kept watch at the door. "My dad really believed us?" Chloe asked softly, still holding the ice pack to her face. "Yes, sweetie. The moment he saw the video, everything changed. He's coming home to protect you." Chloe's eyes filled with tears. "I was starting to think he'd never believe me." Mrs. Davis sat beside her and gently examined her cheek. The red mark had darkened, beginning to bruise. "I'm sorry I didn't do more sooner," Mrs. Davis said. "I was so afraid of what would happen to my nephew." "It's not your fault," Chloe said. "Serena is really good at lying." Mrs. Davis's phone buzzed with a text from Jackson. "Distracted her for now. Says C broke vase in study. Check desk. Secret compartment." Mrs. Davis frowned. "Chloe, before Serena caught you in her study, did you see anything in that hidden compartment in her desk?" Chloe nodded. "There were folders with papers inside. I didn't get to look at them before I knocked over the vase." Mrs. Davis thought for a moment. "Those papers might be important. Jackson thinks we should check them." "But Serena will be in her study," Chloe pointed out. Not if Jackson keeps her busy with the security system, Mrs. Davis replied, texting him back. Minutes later, Jackson responded, "Taking S to check exterior cameras. Study clear for 15 minutes. We need to hurry," Mrs. Davis said, helping Chloe to her feet. "Stay close to me." They crept through the hallways, pausing at corners to listen for footsteps. When they reached Serena's study, the door was still unlocked. Inside, broken crystals still littered the floor, and water had soaked into the expensive carpet. Mrs. Davis went straight to the desk. "Where's the button for the compartment?" Chloe showed her the small button underneath the edge of the desk. When Mrs. Davis pressed it, the hidden drawer slid open. "Keep watch at the door," Mrs. Davis instructed as she pulled out folders and began examining them. Her eyes widened as she flipped through bank statements and transfer records. "Oh my goodness," she whispered. "She's been stealing from your father." Chloe peeked at the papers. "What do they say?" "These show money moving from your father's personal accounts to other accounts with different names." Mrs. Davis continued searching through the papers, then froze when she found a stack of emails. "Look at these." The emails were between Serena and someone named Victor. Mrs. Davis read one aloud. "Timeline accelerated. M traveling more than expected. Perfect opportunity to establish neglect pattern. Moving phase 2 money this week. Swiss accounts ready." Another email from Victor to Serena was even more damning. "Once divorce filed, evidence of his absence will guarantee you half. Judge Williams owes me favor. Girl is only obstacle. Boarding school solution still best option." "They're talking about me," Chloe said, her voice shaking, "and about taking Dad's money." "We need to take pictures of these," Mrs. Davis said, pulling out her phone. "Your father needs to see everything." They quickly photographed each document, then carefully returned them to the compartment. "Let's get back to Jackson's room before—" "Before what, Mrs. Davis?" They spun around to find Serena standing in the doorway, her face a mask of cold fury. Behind her, Jackson was nowhere to be seen. "Where's Jackson?" Mrs. Davis asked, instinctively stepping in front of Chloe. "Your security friend had an unfortunate accident with the staircase," Serena said, stepping into the room and closing the door behind her. "He'll be fine, eventually. Now, what are you doing in my private study?" Mrs. Davis straightened her back. "We know everything, Serena. The abuse, the money you've been stealing, your plans with Victor, it's over." "Over?" Serena laughed, a chilling sound. "You have no idea who you're dealing with. Who's going to believe the word of a housekeeper and a troubled child over mine?" "Marcus will," Mrs. Davis said firmly. "He's seen the video of you hitting Chloe. He's on his way home now." Something flickered in Serena's eyes, a moment of genuine surprise followed by calculation. "Marcus called you?" she asked. "He saw everything," Mrs. Davis confirmed. "The security footage caught it all." Serena's smile disappeared completely. "Give me your phone." "No!" Mrs. Davis refused. Serena's hand shot out, grabbing Mrs. Davis's wrist. "I said, give me your phone!" As they struggled, Chloe darted around them and ran for the door. "Stop her!" Serena shouted, shoving Mrs. Davis aside. Chloe raced down the hallway toward the stairs. She could hear Serena's heels clicking rapidly behind her. "Chloe, come back here right now!" Reaching the top of the stairs, Chloe saw Jackson at the bottom, holding his head where a bruise was forming. Their eyes met. "Run, Chloe!" he called out. She sprinted down the stairs as Serena appeared at the top. "Stop right there!" Serena commanded. Jackson pulled himself to his feet, positioning himself at the bottom of the stairs to block Serena's path to Chloe. "Get out of my way!" Serena hissed. "No," Jackson said simply. Serena's face contorted with rage. "You're fired! All of you are fired! Get out of my house!" "This isn't your house," Jackson replied calmly. "And you've been caught, Serena. The footage is already on secure servers Marcus can access. The financial documents, too. It's over." For a moment, Serena seemed to deflate. Then her expression changed, becoming eerily calm. "Fine," she said, smoothing her hair. "If that's how it's going to be, I'll handle this my way." She turned and walked back up the stairs. Jackson and Chloe exchanged worried glances. What is she doing?" Chloe asked. "I don't know," Jackson admitted, "but we need to be careful." Mrs. Davis appeared at the top of the stairs looking shaken but unharmed. "Are you okay?" Jackson called up to her. "Yes," she said, hurrying down to join them. "She just pushed me aside and went after Chloe." "Did you get pictures of the documents?" Jackson asked. Mrs. Davis nodded, patting her pocket where her phone was safely tucked away. "Everything. Financial records, emails to someone named Victor, plans for divorce, it's all there." Jackson checked his watch. "Marcus's plane won't land for at least 10 more hours. We need to make sure Chloe stays safe until then." "Where did Serena go?" Chloe asked, looking nervously toward the upper floor. They got their answer 20 minutes later. Serena appeared at the top of the stairs, pulling a small suitcase. She had changed into traveling clothes and carried her designer handbag. "I'm leaving for a few days," she announced calmly, as if nothing had happened. "Family emergency." The three of them watched in confusion as Serena descended the stairs. "You're just leaving?" Jackson asked suspiciously. "My mother is ill," Serena said smoothly. "I need to see her." "Your mother died 10 years ago," Jackson replied. "I checked your background." Serena's eyes flashed, but her smile remained fixed. "My stepmother, then. Semantics." She walked to the front door, then turned back to look at Chloe. "This isn't over, little girl. Not by a long shot." After Serena left, they heard her car start and drive away. The house fell eerily quiet. "Is she really gone?" Chloe asked in disbelief. "For now," Jackson said, looking troubled. "But that was too easy." "What do we do now?" Mrs. Davis asked. "We lock down the house and wait for Marcus," Jackson decided. "And we keep watching the security cameras." "I don't trust her at all." Late that night, as Chloe finally fell asleep in a guest room with Mrs. Davis watching over her, Jackson's laptop pinged with an alert. One of his security searches had found results. He stared at the screen, reading the article that had appeared. "Elderly oil executive dies mysteriously. Young wife inherits millions." The accompanying photo showed a younger Serena, then using a different last name, beside an elderly man. The article described suspicious circumstances around his death, though no charges were ever filed. Jackson continued digging, uncovering more about Serena's past. Another marriage to a wealthy businessman that ended after 6 months. A lawsuit from a former employer alleging theft. All of it painting a clear picture of who Serena really was. His phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. 3 hours away. How is Chloe?" Jackson replied, "Safe, sleeping." Serena left the house claiming family emergency. Marcus's response was immediate. "Don't trust it. Keep Chloe protected at all costs." Jackson looked up at the security monitors showing the darkened grounds of the Thompson estate. Something didn't feel right about Serena's easy departure. His instincts proved correct at 4 in the morning when the perimeter alarm triggered briefly. On the security camera, he saw a car approaching the mansion, not from the main road, but from the service entrance at the back of the property. Serena had returned. Jackson jumped to his feet, grabbing his phone. The security monitor clearly showed Serena's car pulling up to the service entrance. She was using a different vehicle than the one she had left in earlier, a rental car with darkened windows. "Mrs. Davis, wake up," Jackson said urgently into his phone. "Serena's back. She's trying to enter through the kitchen door." Mrs. Davis, who had been dozing in a chair beside Chloe's bed, immediately stood up. "What should we do?" "Stay with Chloe. Lock the door. I'm activating emergency protocols now." Jackson pressed a series of commands on his security console. Throughout the mansion, metal shutters began quietly sliding down over windows and secondary doors. It was a security feature Marcus had installed years ago but rarely used. On the monitor, Jackson watched Serena try her key in the kitchen door, only to find it wouldn't work. The security lockdown had changed all the electronic locks. Her face showed clear frustration as she moved around the house trying different entrances. Jackson sent a text to Marcus. Serena returned. Attempting entry. House secured. ETA? Marcus responded immediately. 2 hours, 15 minutes, police notified, private security team 10 minutes out. In the guest bedroom, Mrs. Davis gently woke Chloe. "Sweetie, we need to move to a safer room." Chloe sat up, rubbing her eyes. "What's happening?" Serena came back. "Mr. Pierce has locked down the house, but we need to go somewhere more secure." Chloe's eyes widened with fear. "Is she going to take me away?" "No," Mrs. Davis said firmly. "We won't let that happen." They heard Jackson's quick footsteps in the hallway, then a soft knock on the door. "It's me," he called quietly. Mrs. Davis opened the door and Jackson entered, looking tense but determined. "We need to move to the panic room," he said. "Marcus had one installed in the East Wing when Chloe was born." "I didn't know we had a panic room," Chloe said. "Your dad never wanted to frighten you," Jackson explained as he led them through the darkened house. "It's designed to look like a normal closet." As they hurried down the hallway, a loud crash echoed through the mansion, the sound of breaking glass. "She's in," Jackson muttered. "Move faster." They reached the East Wing, and Jackson guided them to what appeared to be a linen closet. He pressed his hand against a hidden scanner, and the back wall slid open, revealing a small room with monitors, a telephone, and basic supplies. "Get inside," he instructed. "Once I close this door, it can only be opened from the inside or with Marcus's handprint." "Aren't you coming with us?" Mrs. Davis asked. Jackson shook his head. "I need to stall her. The private security team will be here in minutes, and Marcus is on his way. I just need to keep her busy." "Be careful," Chloe said, her small face serious. "Serena is really mad." Jackson smiled reassuringly. "I've handled worse." As the panic room door closed, Jackson hurried to the main security station. On the monitors, he could see Serena moving through the house, a determined expression on her face. She had broken a window in the conservatory to get in and was now heading upstairs toward Chloe's bedroom. Jackson pressed the house intercom button. "The police are on their way, Serena. Marcus knows everything. Leave now while you still can." On the monitor, Serena stopped, looking around for the source of the voice. "Where is she?" Serena demanded. "Where's the girl?" "Safe from you," Jackson replied. "It's over." Serena laughed, the sound echoing eerily through the intercom. "Nothing's over until I say it's over. I've invested too much time in this to walk away with nothing." She continued searching, moving methodically through the upstairs rooms. When she reached the guest room where Chloe had been sleeping, she found it empty. Her face contorted with rage as she tore the blankets from the bed. In the panic room, Chloe and Mrs. Davis watched Serena's rampage on the monitors. "She's really angry," Chloe whispered. "She can't get to us in here," Mrs. Davis assured her. "This room is completely secure." The phone in the panic room rang, making them both jump. Mrs. Davis answered it cautiously. "It's me." Marcus's voice came through clearly. "Are you both safe?" "Yes, Mr. Thompson," Mrs. Davis replied. "We're in the panic room. Mr. Pierce is keeping Serena distracted. My helicopter will land in just under 2 hours. Security team should be there any minute. Stay put no matter what happens." "Dad?" Chloe took the phone. "I'm scared." "I know, sweetheart," Marcus said, his voice gentle despite the tension. "But you're safe now. I've seen the evidence. I know what Serena did to you, and I will never let her hurt you again." On the security monitors, they saw Serena reaching Serena's study. She went straight to her desk and opened the secret compartment, frantically gathering the documents inside. "She's taking the evidence!" Chloe exclaimed. Mrs. Davis smiled and patted her pocket where her phone was safely stored. "Let her. We already have copies of everything." Outside, lights suddenly illuminated the driveway as 3 black SUVs pulled up. Men in dark uniforms exited the vehicles and approached the house. Serena saw them on her own phone, which was connected to the external cameras. Her expression changed from anger to calculation. She grabbed her purse, stuffed the documents inside, and headed for the stairs. Jackson intercepted her in the main hallway. "It's over, Serena. Security team is outside. Marcus is on his way. Police have been notified." "Get out of my way," Serena hissed. "No," Jackson said simply, blocking her path to the front door. Serena's eyes narrowed. "I still have access to the main gate controls. Your security team can't get in without my code. And I still have time to find Chloe." "She's somewhere you can't reach her," Jackson said. Serena glanced at her watch, then back at Jackson. "I don't need much time. Just enough to get what I came for." Before Jackson could react, Serena reached into her purse and pulled out a small canister. She sprayed something directly into his face. Jackson gasped and stumbled backward, his eyes burning from the pepper spray. Serena stepped over him as he fell to his knees, temporarily blinded. Nothing personal, just business. Through watering eyes, Jackson watched her head not toward the front door but toward the east wing, straight in the direction of the panic room. In the panic room, Mrs. Davis and Chloe watched this unfold on the monitors. "She sprayed something in his eyes," Chloe cried. "It's pepper spray," Mrs. Davis explained, looking worried. "And she's coming this way. How does she know where we are?" "She doesn't, but she's checking every room." On the monitor, they saw Serena moving through the east wing, opening doors and checking closets. She was getting closer to their hiding place. "Will she find us?" Chloe asked, her voice shaking. "She might find the closet, but she can't open the panic room." "Only your father's handprint works." They watched anxiously as Serena methodically searched each room in the east wing. Finally, she reached the linen closet that concealed the panic room. She tried the door and found it unlocked. The outer door was deliberately left accessible to avoid suspicion. "Just a linen closet," Serena muttered, starting to close the door. Then she paused, noticing something unusual about the back wall. She ran her hands along the seam where the panic room door was hidden. "I know you're in there," Serena called out. "Chloe?" "I just want to talk." Inside, Chloe and Mrs. Davis remained absolutely silent. "Your father sent me to get you," Serena tried. "There's been a misunderstanding." When this lie didn't work, Serena's voice hardened. "Fine. Have it your way." They watched on the monitor as Serena left the closet and stormed back toward the main part of the house. On another screen, they could see Jackson recovering from the pepper spray, using a water bottle to rinse his eyes. The security team outside was attempting to override the gate controls, but Serena had locked them out of the system. "What is she going to do now?" Chloe asked. They soon got their answer. Serena reappeared on the monitors, heading straight to Chloe's bedroom. She began gathering clothes and stuffing them into a small suitcase. "She's packing my things," Chloe said in confusion. "She's still planning to take you," Mrs. Davis realized. "She thinks she can force you out somehow." On another monitor, they saw Jackson stagger to his feet, his eyes red but functioning. He grabbed his phone and texted the security team outside, then headed toward Chloe's room to confront Serena again. Minutes later, Serena emerged from the bedroom pulling the small suitcase. She headed downstairs to the kitchen, where she began filling a bag with food and drinks, preparing for a journey. Jackson appeared in the kitchen doorway. "It's over, Serena. Give up." Serena whirled around, surprised to see him functional. "You're persistent, I'll give you that. The security team has bypassed your lockout. They're entering the grounds now. You have nowhere to go." Something changed in Serena's face, the calculation giving way to desperation. "I am not leaving empty-handed after all this work. Where is the girl?" "Somewhere safe," Jackson replied. Serena reached into her purse again, but this time Jackson was ready. He blocked her arm before she could use the pepper spray again. "Mrs. Davis!" Serena shouted. "I know you can hear me through the security system. Bring Chloe out now, or your nephew will be on the first plane back to Guatemala tomorrow. One call from me is all it takes." In the panic room, Mrs. Davis flinched at the threat but stood firm. "She can't hurt him anymore. Marcus will protect him." The struggle between Jackson and Serena continued in the kitchen. Serena fought with surprising strength, her desperation making her dangerous. "You don't understand," she snarled. "I've spent a year planning this. A year. I am not walking away with nothing." Outside, the security team had finally breached the gate and was approaching the house. Serena heard their vehicles and grew more frantic. "I still have time," she muttered. "I just need the girl." Breaking free from Jackson, she ran toward the east wing again. Jackson followed, limping slightly from their struggle. In the panic room, Chloe suddenly sat up straighter. "Do you hear that?" Mrs. Davis listened. In the distance, barely audible, was the steady thumping sound of helicopter blades. "Your father," she said, a smile breaking across her face. "He's here." On the monitors, they watched as Serena heard it too. She stopped in the middle of the hallway, her face showing the first signs of genuine fear. "No," she whispered, "it's too soon." The sound grew louder. Through the window cameras, they could see a helicopter approaching the mansion's private helipad on the cliff edge. Serena made one last desperate dash for the linen closet. She pounded on the back wall where the panic room door was hidden. "Chloe, come out now! Last chance!" Inside, Chloe moved closer to Mrs. Davis, who put a protective arm around her. "It's over," Mrs. Davis said softly. "Your father is here." The helicopter landed on the pad, its lights illuminating the grounds. The main door of the mansion burst open as the security team entered, moving quickly to secure the house. Through the windows, Serena could see Marcus stepping out of the helicopter. Even from a distance, his fury was evident in his purposeful stride. Serena's shoulders slumped in defeat. Her perfect plan had fallen apart. Marcus Thompson's shoes hit the marble floor of his foyer with purpose. After 27 hours of travel from Singapore, he looked exhausted but moved with determination. The security team stood at attention as he entered, their leader stepping forward. "Mr. Thompson, the house is secure. We've located Mrs. Thompson in the East Wing." Marcus nodded. "Where is my daughter?" "In the panic room with Mrs. Davis. They're safe." Relief flashed across Marcus's face, quickly replaced by cold anger. "Take me to my wife." In the East Wing hallway, 2 security officers stood on either side of Serena. She had stopped trying to access the panic room and now stood perfectly straight, composing her features into a mask of distress. When she saw Marcus, she launched into performance mode. "Marcus, thank goodness you're home!" Serena cried, tears instantly appearing in her eyes. "There's been a terrible misunderstanding. That security man and the housekeeper have locked Chloe away from me." Marcus stopped several feet away from her. His face remained expressionless as he studied the woman he had married. "I've seen the footage," he said quietly. 3 simple words, but they changed everything. Serena's tears stopped immediately, her expression freezing. "What footage?" she asked, her voice losing its emotional tremor. "The security cameras caught everything, Serena. I watched you slap my 10-year-old daughter across the face. I saw you drag her to the basement and lock her in a dark storage room." But Serena's mind worked quickly, shifting strategies. "You don't understand. Chloe was going through my private things. She broke an expensive vase, deliberately. She needed discipline." "Discipline?" Marcus's voice was dangerously quiet. "You call hitting a child and locking her in a dark room discipline? You don't understand how difficult she's been when you're away," Serena insisted. "She's been acting out, telling lies about me." "Stop." Marcus held up his hand. "I've seen months of footage now. Jackson sent me everything while I was flying home. I know what you've been doing to my daughter every time I leave town." For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Serena's perfect features. "That security man has obviously manipulated the videos. He's obsessed with Chloe. I've been concerned about it for weeks." Jackson, who stood nearby with his eyes still red from the pepper spray, stepped forward. "Every file includes a digital signature that proves it hasn't been altered. The footage is genuine." Marcus turned to the security team. "Please escort Mrs. Davis and my daughter from the panic room. I want Chloe to remain in the West Wing until this is concluded." One of the officers spoke into his radio, and minutes later, Mrs. Davis appeared with Chloe beside her. When Chloe saw her father, she broke away and ran toward him. "Dad!" Marcus knelt and caught her in his arms, holding her tightly. Over her shoulder he saw the bruise on her cheek where Serena had struck her. "I'm so sorry, Chloe," he whispered, his voice breaking. "I'm so sorry." "You believe me now?" Chloe asked, tears running down her face. "Yes, I should have believed you from the beginning." Serena watched this reunion, her face hardening. When Marcus stood up, still holding Chloe's hand, she tried one final manipulation. "Marcus, we can work this out. I made a mistake, I admit it. I was overwhelmed. Being a stepmother is harder than I expected, but I can do better. We can get counseling." "Mrs. Davis," Marcus interrupted, "please take Chloe to the kitchen for some breakfast. I need to speak to my wife alone." Once Chloe was safely out of earshot, Marcus turned back to Serena. All pretense of civility was gone from his face. "It's not just the abuse, Serena. I know about the money, too." Serena's posture stiffened almost imperceptibly. "What money?" "The $300,000 you've transferred from my personal accounts to offshore banks in the Cayman Islands over the past 6 months. My financial team has traced every transaction." "Those were approved transfers," Serena said quickly, "for my charity work." "You agreed. And I know about Victor," Marcus continued. "Your brother, I believe? The one you've been planning this scheme with from the beginning." Serena's mask finally slipped completely. The warm, loving woman Marcus had married disappeared, replaced by cold calculation. "You have no proof of anything," she said flatly. Marcus pulled out his phone and held up the screen, showing her the photographs Mrs. Davis had taken of the documents in her desk. "We have it all, Serena. The financial records, the emails between you and Victor discussing your plans to divorce me and take half my fortune." He swiped to another image. "Including this email where you discuss sending my daughter to boarding school in Switzerland to get her out of the way." Serena's eyes narrowed. She no longer bothered with the pretense of innocence. "You were an easy target, Marcus," she said, her voice now entirely different, harder, colder. "So desperate for someone to love you and your brat after your wife died. Men like you are pathetic." Marcus didn't flinch at her cruelty. "While I was flying home, I had my legal team prepare divorce papers. They include a comprehensive agreement where you walk away with your personal possessions and nothing more." "Half," Serena countered immediately. "California is a community property state. I get half of everything acquired during our marriage." "Not when fraud is involved," Marcus replied. "Not when there's evidence you entered the marriage with intent to defraud." Serena's confidence faltered slightly. "No judge will believe that. My attorneys think differently, especially with the evidence we have." Serena assessed the situation, then straightened her shoulders. "Fine. I'll sign your papers. $1 million and I disappear. No messy court battle, no public scandal for your precious company." "No deals," Marcus said firmly. "You get nothing." Fury flashed across Serena's face. "Then I'll fight you in court. I'll tell everyone how you neglected your daughter, left her for months while you traveled the world. How you were never there for her after her mother died. How I was the only one who actually parented her. By making her work as your personal maid, by hitting her and locking her in a dark basement." Marcus shook his head. "Try telling that to a jury while they watch the security footage." Serena glanced at the security officers, then back to Marcus. "Let me leave now. Just let me walk away." She moved toward the front door, but 2 officers stepped into her path. "You're not going anywhere," Marcus said, "except perhaps to jail." Fear finally broke through Serena's confident facade. "What are you talking about?" "Wire fraud across state lines is a federal offense," Marcus explained. "When you transferred money from my accounts in New York to your offshore accounts, you broke federal law." As if on cue, the doorbell rang. 2 officers opened the front door to reveal a man and woman in dark suits, showing badges. "FBI," the woman announced. "We're looking for Serena Thompson." Serena's face drained of color. You called the FBI? The evidence was too serious to ignore, Marcus said. Financial fraud, child abuse, attempted kidnapping. The FBI agents approached Serena, who backed away. Mrs. Thompson, we need you to come with us, the male agent said. We have some questions about certain financial transactions. You can't do this to me, Serena hissed at Marcus. Do you know who my family is? Who my connections are? Your real family? Marcus asked. Not the fake background you created? We know all about your previous marriages now, your real history. As the agents led Serena toward the door, she stopped and turned back to Marcus. This isn't over, she said, her voice low and threatening. Nobody does this to me and gets away with it. Nobody. It is over, Marcus replied calmly. For good. They all watched as the FBI agents escorted Serena to their waiting car. Only when the vehicle disappeared down the driveway did Marcus's shoulders slump, the weight of the past 24 hours finally hitting him. Jackson approached, his expression concerned. Are you okay, sir? No, Marcus admitted, but I will be. He walked to the kitchen where he found Chloe sitting at the counter with Mrs. Davis, who was making pancakes. When Chloe saw him, her expression was uncertain. Is she gone? She asked in a small voice. Yes, sweetheart. She's gone, and she won't be coming back. Chloe's eyes filled with tears. I was so scared, Dad. I tried to tell you, but… I know, Marcus said, kneeling beside her chair. I failed you, Chloe. I didn't listen when I should have. I didn't see what was happening right in front of me. He gently touched the bruise on her cheek. Can you ever forgive me? Chloe threw her arms around his neck. It's over now, Dad. She's gone. As Marcus held his daughter, he realized that removing Serena from their lives was only the beginning. The damage she had done to Chloe's trust, to their relationship, to their sense of safety, would take much longer to repair. Is it really over, Dad? Chloe asked, pulling back to look at him with eyes too old for her 10 years. I don't think I know how to feel safe anymore. Marcus held her face gently between his hands. Then I'll spend every day helping you feel safe again. I promise. The morning after Serena's arrest, the Thompson mansion felt strangely empty. Sunlight streamed through the large windows, but the house remained unusually quiet. Chloe sat at the kitchen counter, picking at a bowl of cereal. The bruise on her cheek had darkened overnight. Marcus entered, phone in hand, looking tired but determined. He had barely slept, spending most of the night speaking with attorneys and reviewing security footage from the past months. Not hungry? He asked, sitting beside Chloe. She shook her head. My room still feels weird, like she might come in any minute. Marcus nodded, understanding. Would you feel better in a different room for now? Maybe, Chloe said quietly. Where did they take her? To a federal detention center. She has to answer for the things she did. The money she stole and… He paused. How she treated you. Marcus looked down at his phone. I need to make one more call, then I'm all yours for the day. Actually, for many days. He dialed a number and put the phone on speaker. Richard, it's Marcus. I need you to gather the executive team in 1 hour. Of course, replied his chief operating officer. Is everything okay? We heard you left Singapore suddenly. No, everything is not okay, Marcus said firmly. I'm taking a leave of absence. Effective immediately. There was a moment of silence. For how long? 3 months minimum. You'll run operations. Janet will handle clients. I've already spoken with the board chair. But the Asia expansion will wait, Marcus interrupted. My daughter needs me. That's all that matters now. After ending the call, Marcus turned to find Chloe staring at him with wide eyes. You're not going to work? For 3 whole months? Not at the office, Marcus confirmed. I'll need to handle some things from home, but my priority is you. Mrs. Davis entered the kitchen with a fresh pot of coffee. The security team left, Mr. Thompson. Mr. Pierce is still here, reviewing the security system. Thank you, Mrs. Davis. Marcus poured himself coffee. And thank you for everything you did to protect Chloe. I can never repay you." Mrs. Davis nodded, her eyes filling with tears. "I should have done more sooner. I was too afraid." "We were all afraid of different things," Marcus said. "I was afraid of being a single father, of failing Chloe after Elizabeth died. I wanted so badly to believe we could be a normal family again that I ignored all the warning signs." Later that morning, Jackson joined them in Marcus's home office. His eyes were still red from the pepper spray, but he moved with purpose as he laid out folders on the desk. "I've compiled everything we have on Serena," he explained. "Financial records, security footage, background research." Marcus flipped through the documents. "You found her previous marriage? To the oil executive?" Jackson nodded grimly. "Harold Winters. 40 years older than her. Died under questionable circumstances 6 months after they married. She inherited millions but spent it all within 2 years. And Victor is definitely her brother?" "Half-brother," Jackson confirmed. "They have different last names. He's been involved in several financial scams, mostly targeting wealthy older men through women like Serena." Marcus sighed heavily. "I was an easy target, wasn't I? Grieving widower. Busy with work. Desperate for someone to help with my daughter." "You're not the first man she's deceived," Jackson said. "But you're the first one who caught her." The doorbell rang and Mrs. Davis showed a woman into the office. She was in her early 40s with kind eyes and a professional demeanor. "Mr. Thompson? I'm Dr. Laura Chen. You called about therapy for your daughter?" Marcus stood to greet her. "Thank you for coming so quickly. Chloe's been through a terrible experience. I'm worried about the long-term effects." "Trauma affects each child differently," Dr. Chen explained. "But with proper support, children are remarkably resilient. I'd like to meet Chloe if she's ready." In the living room, Dr. Chen sat with Chloe while Marcus waited nearby, close enough to provide comfort, but giving them space to talk. "Can you tell me a little about what happened with your stepmother?" Dr. Chen asked gently. Chloe stared at her hands. "She was nice when Dad was home, but when he left, she made me be the maid. She took my phone and locked my bedroom door. I had to sleep in the little room by the laundry. That must have been very frightening for you." Chloe nodded, tears forming. "I tried to tell Dad, but Serena always made him think I was lying. She said I was jealous and making up stories." "How did that make you feel when your dad didn't believe you?" The question opened a floodgate. Chloe's tears flowed freely now. "I felt alone, like nobody would ever help me, like I didn't matter." She looked up at her father. "I thought you loved her more than me." Marcus moved to kneel beside Chloe, his own eyes wet. "I failed you, sweetheart. I was so busy trying to build our future that I didn't see what was happening right now. I'm so sorry. Were you happy when Mom died? Is that why you worked all the time?" Chloe asked, the painful question she had been holding inside for years finally emerging. "No," Marcus said firmly. "I was broken when we lost your mom. I didn't know how to handle the pain, so I buried myself in work. I thought if I could make enough money, build a big enough company, somehow it would keep you safe and happy. I was wrong." Dr. Chen watched this exchange carefully. "This is good, Chloe. Asking these hard questions is part of healing." 2 days later, Marcus and Chloe sat in the office of Robert Jensen, Marcus's attorney. The lawyer slid a folder across his desk. "The FBI has built a strong case," he explained. "Financial fraud, child abuse, attempted kidnapping. They've also connected her to similar schemes with other wealthy men." "What about her brother?" Marcus asked. "Victor? They picked him up in Miami yesterday. He was trying to board a flight to Venezuela." Robert adjusted his glasses. "The investigation revealed they've done this twice before. Targeted wealthy men, usually widowers with children." "Will Chloe need to testify?" Marcus asked, glancing worriedly at his daughter. "The video evidence is compelling enough that she likely won't need to appear in court. The prosecutors will try to spare her that experience." On the drive home, Chloe stared out the window at the Malibu coastline. "Dad? Do we have to keep living in our house? I don't like it anymore." Marcus considered this. "We have options. We could sell it and move somewhere new, or we could change it, renovate it to make it feel different." "Can we think about it?" Chloe asked. "Of course. It's a big decision. We should take our time." That weekend, Marcus booked 2 rooms at a beachside hotel in Santa Barbara. Getting away from the mansion even temporarily seemed to lift a weight from both their shoulders. Walking along the shore, Chloe seemed more relaxed than she had been in months. Marcus watched as she collected shells, her face lit by genuine smiles. Over dinner at the hotel restaurant, Marcus unfolded large architectural drawings. "I had these prepared," he explained. "This one shows how we could completely renovate our current home. New layout, new everything. And this one," he unfolded another, "shows a new house we could build on a different property." Chloe studied both carefully. "If we renovate, could we make my room different? And change the basement?" "We could change everything," Marcus promised. "Whatever would make you feel safe and happy." Back at the mansion on Monday, Marcus called Mrs. Davis and Jackson to his office. "I want to thank you both properly," he said. "You protected Chloe when I couldn't. You risked your jobs, your safety." He turned to Mrs. Davis first. "I've spoken with my immigration attorney. Your nephew has been granted permanent resident status. All the paperwork is complete." Mrs. Davis gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. "Mr. Thompson, I don't know what to say." "There's more," Marcus continued. "I've established a college fund for him, full tuition at any university he chooses." Tears flowed freely down Mrs. Davis's cheeks. "Thank you. This means everything to us." Marcus then addressed Jackson. "As for you, I'd like to offer you a permanent position, not just as our security director, but developing a comprehensive child safety program for Thompson Tech. We'll offer it to all our clients free of charge." Jackson looked surprised. "A child safety program?" "To help parents identify warning signs I missed," Marcus explained, "using technology to protect families, not just corporations." "I'd be honored," Jackson said, "but I feel I should have done more, acted sooner." "You did everything right," Marcus interrupted. "If not for you, we might never have discovered the truth." That evening, the 4 of them gathered for dinner on the terrace overlooking the Pacific Ocean. For the first time in months, the meal was filled with genuine conversation and even occasional laughter. As they finished dessert, Marcus tapped his glass with a spoon. "I want to make some promises," he said, looking directly at Chloe. "From now on, no business trip will ever last more than 3 days. I'll be home for dinner 5 nights every week. School events come before any meeting. And most importantly," he reached for her hand, "I will always, always listen to you." Chloe squeezed his hand. "What about the company?" "The company will adapt to our family's needs, not the other way around," Marcus said firmly. "I built Thompson Tech to protect people. It's time I remembered that the most important people to protect are right here." As darkness fell and the first stars appeared over the ocean, Chloe looked at her father. "Dad? I'm still scared sometimes. When I hear noises at night, I think it might be her." "What if I still see her sometimes?" she asked in a small voice. "What if I can't forget what happened?" Marcus pulled her close. "Then we face those fears together, one day at a time." 6 months had passed since that night on the terrace when Chloe had confessed her lingering fears. The Thompson mansion, once a place of hidden torment, had undergone a remarkable transformation. The sound of hammers and electric drills filled the morning air as construction workers moved through the house. Walls that once divided rooms had been removed, creating open, airy spaces filled with light. Fresh paint in warm colors replaced the cold, modern tones Serena had chosen. Chloe stood in the doorway of her completely redesigned bedroom, watching as workers installed new windows that stretched from floor to ceiling, offering a sweeping view of the Pacific Ocean. "What do you think?" Marcus asked, coming to stand beside her. "I love it," Chloe said, her face brightening. "It doesn't feel like the same room anymore." That had been the goal of the extensive renovation, not to erase the past, but to create a new beginning while honoring what came before. After careful consideration, they had decided to stay and reclaim their home rather than move to a new property. "The basement is finished too," Marcus told her. "Want to see?" Chloe hesitated only briefly before nodding. The basement, where Serena had locked her in darkness, had been her greatest source of fear. Together, they walked downstairs to find a space completely transformed. The storage room was gone, replaced by a bright art studio with skylights and colorful storage for Chloe's growing collection of paints and canvases. "This is for me?" Chloe asked, eyes wide. "All yours," Marcus confirmed. "Mrs. Davis mentioned you've been drawing a lot in therapy." Dr. Chen thought having a dedicated creative space might help. Down the hallway from the art studio, Marcus showed her his new home office. Unlike his previous workspace, which had been isolated at the other end of the house, this office featured a special door labeled Chloe's Entrance that connected directly to a cozy reading nook. "This way you can always find me when you need me," Marcus explained, "even when I'm working." The renovation was just one visible sign of the changes in the Thompson household. Marcus had completely restructured Thompson Tech, delegating daily operations to his executive team and establishing a new work pattern that prioritized family above business. In the newly designed kitchen, Mrs. Davis, now officially the house manager with a substantial salary increase, was preparing lunch with the new chef she had personally hired. "Mr. Thompson, the contractor wants to know about the lighting for the memorial corner," she called as Marcus and Chloe entered. The memorial corner was their special name for the area in the living room dedicated to Elizabeth's memory. After Serena had removed all traces of Chloe's mother, one of their first acts of healing had been to restore her presence in their home. "Let's use the soft recessed lights," Marcus decided. "Chloe, what do you think?" "Mom liked natural light," Chloe said thoughtfully. "Maybe we could add a skylight there too." Marcus smiled. "Perfect idea." Later that afternoon, Jackson Pierce arrived carrying several large display boards. 6 months had transformed his role as well. No longer just their security consultant, he now headed Thompson Tech's newest division, Family Protection Services. "Ready for the presentation?" he asked, setting up the boards in the living room. Marcus and Chloe sat together on the sofa as Jackson unveiled his work, a comprehensive child safety program that would be offered free to all Thompson Tech clients. "We've developed software that can identify warning signs in household patterns," Jackson explained. "Changes in routine, unusual restrictions on communication, isolation tactics, all the things Serena did that went undetected." Marcus nodded solemnly. "If I'd had something like this, maybe we could have stopped her sooner." "That's the goal," Jackson agreed, "to help other parents recognize what you couldn't see." The doorbell rang, and Mrs. Davis showed in Dr. Chen, who had been working with Chloe twice weekly since Serena's arrest. "Sorry I'm late," Dr. Chen said. "Traffic on the Pacific Coast Highway was terrible." "You're just in time," Marcus said. Chloe was about to show us her latest artwork. Chloe retrieved a canvas from her backpack. The painting showed 4 figures standing together on a beach, clearly Marcus, Chloe, Mrs. Davis, and Jackson, with a subtle 5th figure formed by clouds in the sky above them. "Is that?" Marcus began, his voice catching. "Mom," Chloe confirmed, "watching over us." Dr. Chen smiled approvingly. "Your art therapy is showing beautiful progress, Chloe. How are the nightmares?" "Better," Chloe said. "I only had 2 this week and they weren't as scary." The healing process hadn't been easy or quick. There had been setbacks, nights when Chloe woke screaming, convinced Serena was in her room, days when unexpected triggers caused her to panic or withdraw. But slowly, steadily, she was reclaiming her childhood. "I got an A on my science project," she told Dr. Chen proudly, "and I joined the art club at school again." "She's also made 2 new friends," Marcus added. girls from her class who came over for a swimming party last weekend. Dr. Chen made notes in her tablet. Excellent progress. And how are things between you two? Father and daughter exchanged glances. Dad comes to every school event now, Chloe said, even the boring ones. Especially the boring ones, Marcus corrected with a smile. And we have breakfast together every morning, no matter what. That evening, Marcus received a call from Robert, his attorney. Good news, Robert said when Marcus put him on speaker so everyone could hear. Serena's plea deal was accepted. She'll serve 7 years for the financial fraud with additional time for child endangerment and attempted kidnapping. And Victor? Marcus asked. 10 years. He had prior convictions that increased his sentence. After the call ended, a weight seemed to lift from the room. The legal proceedings had been hanging over them for months, with constant concerns about whether Chloe might need to testify. It's really over, Mrs. Davis said quietly. The legal part is, Marcus agreed. The healing continues. 2 weeks later, on a warm Sunday afternoon, Marcus gathered everyone on the newly rebuilt terrace for a special occasion. Exactly 1 year had passed since the day Mrs. Davis and Jackson had rescued Chloe from the basement storage room and called Marcus in Singapore. The table was set for a celebration dinner with flowers and candles arranged beautifully across the surface. Before we eat, Marcus said, standing at the head of the table, I have an announcement. He opened a folder and passed documents to each person. Today marks the official launch of the Elizabeth Thompson Foundation for Child Protection, he explained. With an initial endowment of $20 million, the foundation will support families in crisis and fund programs to identify and prevent child abuse. Mrs. Davis wiped away tears as she read the document. This is beautiful, Mr. Thompson. The foundation has its first 3 board members, Marcus continued, if you all accept. Mrs. Davis, Jackson, and Dr. Chen, your experiences and expertise would be invaluable. All 3 immediately agreed, touched by the invitation. And Chloe, Marcus turned to his daughter, you'll have a special role when you're older, if you want it. For now, you get to help choose which programs we support each year. After dinner, they moved to the newly designed kitchen. The large central island had been built at the perfect height for Chloe to work alongside adults. Cabinet doors displayed framed recipe cards in Elizabeth's handwriting, another way they had incorporated her memory into their daily lives. Tonight, Chloe announced, putting on an apron, I'm going to teach everyone how to make Mom's famous chocolate chip cookies. She directed them all with surprising confidence, showing Marcus how to properly measure flour, instructing Jackson on the correct way to crack eggs, and supervising Mrs. Davis as she mixed in the chocolate chips. Mom always said the secret was to add the vanilla last, Chloe explained, carefully measuring the extract. As the sweet aroma of baking cookies filled the kitchen, Marcus watched his daughter, smiling, laughing, being a child again. The haunted look that had shadowed her eyes for so long had finally begun to fade. Outside the windows, the sun was setting over the Pacific Ocean, painting the sky in brilliant colors. The light streamed into their renovated home, warming the new spaces they had created together. When the cookies were done, Chloe carefully arranged them on a plate and carried it to the memorial corner where Elizabeth's photos now held places of honor. She placed the plate beneath her mother's largest portrait. I think I did them right, she said softly to the photo. I remembered everything you taught me. Marcus came to stand beside her, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. She would be so proud of you, he said. So proud of how brave you've been. Chloe looked up at him, then back at her mother's smiling face in the photograph. Mom would be proud of us now, she said. All of us. We're a real family. As they walked back to join Mrs. Davis and Jackson, who were already sampling the cookies and declaring them perfect, Marcus realized something profound. Through their darkest experience, they had found something precious, not just a house, but a true family built on protection, respect, and unwavering love. The Thompson home, once a beautiful but hollow showcase, had become something far more valuable, a sanctuary where each of them belonged exactly as they were. If you enjoyed today's video, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Don't waste time. Just click on the screen